Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is Denise. You are watching Speak Now Pro Wrestling here on F4W Online. And it is officially here, the last and final episode of AEW Dynamite for the year of 2022. And we've been here through it all, the entire year, each and every single week. And we're ending it here tonight, everyone. Man, I gotta tell you, I thought today's episode of AEW Dynamite New Year Smash completely flew by. I looked at the clock at probably maybe like 6:30-ish, somewhere around there. I looked up and I'm like, oh man, we only got half hour left on this show. And at this point, we were still needing to finish out the women's match. I think I looked during the commercial, and then we still needed the main event, obviously. So I'm looking at the show and I'm like, damn, things are really flying by. I thought that for the most part, we had a very interesting ending to the show where I feel like it's going to give us quite a bit to talk about, because I'm feeling a little bit, a little surprised at how things turned out. And we will talk about that more once we actually get to the main event. But for the most part, I thought there was a lot of good in-ring stuff that we got here today. The crowd was definitely, hyped up and whatnot. It felt like a finale. It felt like the end of a year, and I like that, But let's get into this, guys. We are going to recap the show in a chronological format because it just makes things so much easier for me. But please take part in the chat if you are new here, if you're a regular, whatever your situation is. Please make sure to take part in the comments section. I do pull out people's thoughts and comments as we take part in the show. On top of that, if you do want to help support this podcast, please send in a super chat at any point. If you do send in a super chat, you will get your questions, your comments, and your statements read here on this show. And they really do just help me out and carry me forward. But here we go. We got our first super chat of the day. And this is from Joe Babs 64, who says, from the one true king of television to the queen of podcasting. Happy New Year, Denise. Thank you so much for this lovely and generous super chat and kind of getting me started on a good mood. I love it. Thank you so much to Joe Babs 64. I appreciate it, man. All right. So we got a lot of people saying that this was a pretty damn good show, but let's get into it, everyone. We're going to kick things off with Ethan Page versus Bryan Danielson. So here's the thing about this one here. So first and foremost, I am going to say, I thought this match was so much better than I had anticipated. And it's not really that I thought this match was going to be bad or anything like that. No, I don't think I was necessarily really looking forward to it. I would definitely say that it exceeded my expectations. But in reality, we're always getting constant good stuff from Bryan Danielson. So I don't even know, there's no surprise here whatsoever. The crowd was really, really into this match. And I think that you can definitely tell that Danielson and Page, they really fed off of that crowd energy. And more so, matches like this are expected for Danielson. But lately, we've been talking about Ethan Page, and, he's been in AEW, for quite a bit now. And for quite a while, we weren't really seeing him go out there and really do all that he's capable of. And in this match here with Bryan Danielson, I feel like we really actually got to see Ethan Page, really shine. If you've seen us work in Impact Wrestling, then you know what Ethan Page has to offer, but you haven't gotten to see so much of that on AEW. While you have gotten shades here and there, like his match with Ricky Starks, that was really good. I feel like this match here was probably one of my favorites that Ethan Page has had in AEW, thus far, because I can't think of another one that I really liked much more than this. So I'm going with this one here. And with that being said, I feel like if we want, because if you guys remember when it was the finals between Ethan Page and Ricky Starks, the people, man, they were so behind Ricky Starks because he felt like the guy and he had given you something to root for. He gave you something to, care about and get behind of. And we didn't necessarily have that just yet from Ethan Page. So with that being said, I do think that if Ethan Page goes out there and keeps having matches where he's showcasing everything that he can do, just like he did out here with Bryan Danielson, I feel like, the people could get, behind Ethan Page maybe just a little bit more, or just feel a little bit more interested in what he's going out there and doing on AEW. So I thought this one was pretty good. We need to see more matches like this for Ethan Page, especially if they want to, keep seeing him grow and keep seeing him level up on the AEW roster, because there's a lot of competition, man, especially like with the young guys. Like there's so many guys that, are on the precipice of really just, blossoming, and, you don't want to miss your opportunity, right? So this one here, I thought it got started off really well. Obviously they had, MJF's music hit, and you're thinking like, oh, is MJF going to come out on the stage? But he's not. Instead, he's up in his little skybox, having his champagne, having his arm around some new girl, bragging about how he got the hottest girl in Colorado, this and that. And this will be funny. Like if we keep seeing little bits of this every week, it is kind of funny because we all know that MJF like is legitimately engaged. And he's out here with these new girls, etc. So this could be funny and work for, MJF and whatnot. I can only imagine him for the LA show if he comes out with like tons of models and like influencers or something like that. I don't know. I'm getting carried away. The point is that he's out there and he kind of starts like, trolling, right in the beginning. And there was a portion where I actually thought that maybe MJF was going to be providing some like additional commentary throughout the match, but he only did so in the very beginning where he was just, talking his shit and whatnot. But either way, this match was a lot of fun, guys. There was a lot of things that I loved. All the uppercuts from Bryan Danielson, the kicks on the corner that he gave to Ethan Page, the Hurricanrana off the top rope. All of that was really good. Ethan Page power slamming Bryan Danielson, Page hitting Bryan Danielson with the cutter. We see a DDT from Bryan. I thought that they actually gave so much to Ethan Page here, and this was definitely needed for him. I think like they had to give him a little bit something here, and they really, really did. Bryan, there's a moment where they're on the top rope and Bryan is getting him with those elbows, and then Ethan Page ends up hitting his avalanche pile driver off the top rope. So that looked pretty cool. The fans were chanting, "This is awesome." And in the end, we get Bryan Danielson getting the win after hitting in his stomps onto Ethan Page and getting the win after he locks in the label lock on Ethan Page, and Ethan Page essentially passes out. So he doesn't ever actually tap, but he does essentially, he gets knocked out cold. So this was good top to bottom, man. And again, just keep things going like this for Ethan Page, and I think we can get a whole lot more. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and continue on from here, everyone. Let's get into Adam Page. So Hangman Adam Page, as you guys know, has been feuding with Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley and him have kind of been getting into these brawls the last couple of weeks, with the last one I think being on Rampage. And so he's getting checked by their doctor backstage, and Renee comes in because, she has questions for him and she wants to know what his situation is. And Adam Page is a little bit moody, man. He's a little grumpy. He's a little bit he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So he's definitely not in the mood for any of these questions whatsoever. And he kind of gives Renee a little bit of attitude, and then he apologizes for it. But basically the doctor's like, okay, you know what? You could be cleared in 2 weeks if you basically take care of yourself and stop basically fighting Jon Moxley. Like, give yourself time to get rest and get cleared. And Adam Page looks up at him and he goes like, okay, 2 weeks, that's around like LA time. So I think it kind of feels like we're probably going to get Jon Moxley, Adam Page for that Los Angeles show on January 11th. So I think if we do, I think that's where we're headed. And if so, hell yeah, baby, because I'm gonna be there. I can't wait. That LA show, guys, is starting to feel like big, and they need to do that because, no offense, but LA ain't no small little market, guys. Like, they need to put up a really damn good show for LA. And so, like, already we have, the mystery of who Soraya's partner is going to be. We have the finals of the best of 7 series between the Elite and the Death Triangle. And then we also have possibly, based off of this promo, I'm guessing we're going to get Adam Page, John Moxley for that show. I don't know yet for sure, but it kind of feels like that's where we're headed. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on from here. But yeah, we got our Riggs here who's like, LA show is going to be stacked, major blood sets. Denise is just getting spoiled when AEW comes to LA, which true. Bro, we got the infamous MJF promo on that show. Man, I remember that being like, holy shit, this happened at the show that I was at. And it ended up being like, today I posted a tweet kind of recapping my top 4 moments of the, or just sharing a picture of my top 4 moments in wrestling. And I was going back and I was sitting there staring at my computer going, what was my top 4? Like really thinking about this. And so I kind of just went with what's popped up in my head right away. And one of those was that MJF moment where he basically snapped and called out Tony Khan and went off on AEW and had all of those great lines and then walks out, and during the commercial break, CM Punk goes after him. Oh, it was phenomenal. So I'm really feeling pretty damn solid about this show. But let's continue on from here, because afterwards we got Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli versus Top Flight here. So this one here I thought it was okay. I thought this one was pretty good. It wasn't bad whatsoever. I thought we got some fun little moments that really kept this match going. But before I recap those, we do got a super chat here from Grapple Geekery, my good friend who wines and dines in style and vacations as well. I don't know. I try to remember fun facts about the viewers. Grapple Geekery says, the show would have been 5 out of 5 if not for the women's tag finish and Wardlow losing. The show ruled except for those bummer endings. We'll talk about that because I want to make sure I deep dive into the Wardlow stuff. And I may have felt differently in regards to the women's tag team match, but we'll get to that. Eddie Bolton sends in a super chat. Thank you so much to Eddie, who says, hey, Denise, Happy New Year. Did you spot how angry Claudio seemed after the slap from Darius? He looked like he was shouting in his face during the pin. So let's get into this match here. This one kind of got like pretty interesting, and it got a little bit how do I say this? It wasn't necessarily perfect towards the end, but we had some fun moments. And so basically what we got here is, Top Flight is coming off of winning the Battle Royal, getting their 300K along with AR Fox. And if you recall, they essentially double teamed and eliminated Claudio Castagnoli, who they were the final 3 in this Battle Royal. It was really fun too. It made for a very eventful Battle Royal, at least a couple of the last final minutes and whatnot. So that was really fun. This match here, they had some fun spots, but I really thought it picked up, I think, after the commercial break was when it really started to kind of take off and, just be a little bit extra. We got Claudio. There was a moment where Claudio just freaking goes like off the wall, next level speed, man. And he just starts getting Darius with like both of them, actually. He gets both of them. He's got one on one corner, one on the other corner, and he's literally like running back and forth, hitting those freaking uppercuts, but he's doing them so in such a manner that just really, really, I don't know, man. It stood out. We see Darius do a Spanish fly on Claudio. Right after that, we see Claudio hit the neutralizer, goes for the pin. Darius kicks out. And here's the thing about this part here. I honestly thought that after the neutralizer, I kind of felt like it was a little bit too much. I thought at that point, that should have been the finish. That should have been the end for me. And the reason I say that is because we do get a lot of this where for the young guys, they do these near falls and they really, how do I say this? They give them, what's I'm trying to think of the right word here, but there are certain times where you can do this and it's exciting and you're like, holy shit, this person, kicked out of this, right? And you're like, oh my God. But this one didn't necessarily feel believable to me. And sometimes I think they do push it a little bit too far where you have certain people kick out to certain moves and things that are just not Like that should have been the end. That did not feel too believable for me. And the crowd reaction was interesting for this one because I think half the crowd was kind of thinking, oh shit, I kind of thought that was the finish. And then the other crowd was kind of like, okay, this is not the finish. I guess, this is, good, right? But personally, I thought that should have been the end because after this, it did get a little bit, just, I don't know, the timing was off. It was a little bit just rough, but here's what we ended up getting here. So personally, I thought that should have been it. That should have been the finish. End it there. But afterwards, we end up getting from this point until the finish, it's a little bit clunky. It feels a little disconnected because you get Claudio's in the ring getting Darius with a ton of elbows, right? And it seems like he's, changing his mind, changing his path on what he wants to do. So he's getting him with a bunch of elbows. Then on the outside, you have Jon Moxley, and the camera actually missed the production team actually missed the shot, but we caught the tail end of it. And then afterwards, they ended up replaying Jon Moxley, essentially getting the paradigm shift on Dante on the outside. So we kind of had, so much kind of going on here where it didn't feel like, I don't know, it was weird. Finally, so after we get the replay of the paradigm shift from Jon Moxley, we go back into the ring and Claudio Castagnoli has a really, he kind of gets super pissed and just gives this explosive, solid uppercut to a Darius where it's knocks his lights out, man. I'm pretty sure his lights were completely out after that because he basically gets him with a really hard one, and that's how he ends up winning the match for his team. But I don't know, it was a little bit clunky. Go back and watch from the moment we get the neutralizer to the end of this match. It just kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't really love how we got from there to from the neutralizer, everything after that to the actual finish. I loved the last portion of it with that uppercut from Claudio, but between that, it just felt a little bit weird. I really think they should have just ended it at the neutralizer, and it would have just felt a little bit more believable for me personally. But let's see what we got here. And this is from Grapple Geekery, who says, took 18 minutes for that first super chat to send. I don't know why. So I hope YouTube's not acting funny with them super chats. But thank you so much to Grapple Geekery for sending this in here. FYI, guys, if you do want to get your question, your comment, your statement, whatever your situation is, whatever you want to get right here on the show, you're more than welcome to send in a super chat. They help me out. They help keep me going here and whatnot. But let's go ahead and move on from this because afterwards we got something that was a little bit interesting too, I would say. And this was Hook essentially defeating Baylum Lynx, but that wasn't the interesting part. That was really just your every Hook match that you've been seeing, the overhead suplex, the red rum for the quick submission, and for the actual win. So this was copy and paste pretty much every single Hook match that we've seen, but at least now we're seeing them on a bigger stage on Dynamite instead of Rampage. And so we're getting Hook to kind of, he's getting his sea legs underneath him on Dynamite and getting to do a little bit more there. And obviously, we've been seeing this friendship unfold between him and Jungle Boy. And it continues here. So after Hook gets this win in this match, Stokely Hathaway comes out and he ends up kind of, shitting on Hook. He ends up calling them, Southwest. He says that he's the Southwest Airlines version of AEW. So he's Southwest Airlines apparently, which to be honest, I don't think Southwest Airlines is that bad. I've flown them a bunch and I didn't have a bad time with them. I think he should have been like, you're the Frontier. You're the Frontier of AEW. Now that would have been an insult. Or the Spirit of AEW. Oh, but people wouldn't have gotten that one unless he said Spirit Airlines. All right. Anyways, the point is, Hook becomes outnumbered at one point, and so he's got Big Bill out there. He's got everybody out there. They're outnumbering him. So Jungle Boy makes sure to comes out. He comes out, has Jungle Boy's back, but this basically leads to a moment where we get this this square off, this face off between Big Bill. God, by the way, I hate calling him Big Bill. I really, really hate it. I don't like the name whatsoever. I feel really dorky every time I call him Big Bill. Like W. Morrissey, I remember when he started going by W. Morrissey, it took me a second to call him W Morrissey. I remember for a second I kept calling him Morrissey. And then afterwards I was like, God damn it, W Morrissey. Then I got used to W Morrissey. And now I got to call him Big Bill. Big Bill, it's such a bad name. Anyways, but Big Bill has this face off with Hook. Really, think about that sentence. Big Bill and Hook. All right. This sounds like a cartoon. Anyway, so they have this like face off here, and I'm thinking, okay, like Hook, look at him. He's got some courage, man. He's up there, squaring up with the big dude, with Big Bill. And there's a moment where he even tries to pick up Big Bill, and I'm like, holy shit, he actually gets him a couple inches off the ground. Big Bill nearly gets him with a choke slam, but he's ended up he gets hit by the 2x4 and from Jungle Boy, and that's basically how they wrap this up. So there you go. I'm interested here. Like, what's going to go down between Hook and Big Bill? Think about this. Let's see what we got. We got some funny comments in here. Oh, man. We got a super chat from Grapple Geekery who says, too bad the tag team name Pretty Deadly is taken. Yep, that's definitely taken. Thank you to Grapple Geekery for sending this in as well. Oh, man. M. Caspito says, Denise, Southwest Airlines has had a bad publicity for the last few days. Too many cancellations. Have they really? I feel like that's every airline. Literally. Lately, it's been really bad. I forgot. What pay-per-view was it? It was Full Gear, actually. Man, everybody's flight was being canceled that trip. I remember that being really bad, but whatever. I guess Southwest Airlines, I guess, is having more. All right. Anyways, let's continue on from here. So we got a backstage segment with Swerve and the Mogul affiliates. So the Mogul affiliates and Swerve were kind of a hot topic last week because, my God, it was not good. Okay, we talked about this. I ended up voting the Mogul affiliates coming in to help Swerve as my worst of the week for last week. I did not like it. It was so bad. It was cringe. All of that, everything, whatever. So this time, Swerve and the Mogul affiliates are backstage being interviewed by Renee Paquette. And this was actually pretty funny because you got Swerve kind of being, being rude to Renee. He's calling her baby, touching her head. And I'm like, ugh, why? How dare you do that to Renee? But anyways, you have Swerve basically, talking about how, he now has the Mogul affiliates at his side. And the Mogul affiliates, they don't say anything. They don't say squat. And he kind of introduces them really quickly. And basically, I really hope that this works, guys. I really hope this works because Swerve has been on a really good, momentum. He's been getting things done, man. Like he hasn't necessarily, like there's been a lot of guys that you see them come into AEW, they have their big moment, ta-da, and then afterwards you kind of don't really see or hear anything from them. That hasn't happened to Swerve. Swerve's gone out there, he's been a tag team champ with Keith Lee. He's had big matches on big shows, All Out, Grand Slam, just to name a few. And so and now, obviously he has this story with Keith Lee and everything that's unfolded between them two. So clearly things have been looking good for Swerve. And so to have the addition of the Mogul affiliates, I'm hoping that they play a silent and minimal role, because just based off of that one thing that we saw last week, and I say this all the time, but first impressions really do matter and they stick. Based on what we got last week, I'm not that big of a fan of the Mogul affiliates, and so I hope they do keep their roles very small and minimal. I really hope that it gets interesting with them. Today they didn't do anything. They were just standing there, so I can't say that I hated it or anything like that because they didn't do anything. So that's where we're at with Swerve and the Mogul affiliates. All right, we got Robert Rodriguez who says Dragon Lee just signed to WWE via ESPN. What? Someone send me the link to this. Send me the link. What's happening? Thank you, Robert Rodriguez, for sending in this super chat. All right, pressing on from here, and let's go ahead and get into the Falls Count Anywhere match. All right. Now, before I get into this one here, just a heads up, guys, I am going to be back this Friday here to talk about SmackDown and Rampage, and that is going to be the final SmackDown and Rampage of the year. So make sure you're here on Friday. And besides that, I'm live 3 times a week here on F4W. I'm live on Tuesdays to talk about NXT, and I'm live on Wednesdays, obviously, to talk about Dynamite, and then Friday, SmackDown and Rampage. So let's get into it right now. Falls Count Anywhere, the Elite versus the Death Triangle, match numero 6. All right, so this was freaking exciting stuff here, guys. Now I have literally not been sick of the Death Triangle and the Elite at all, okay? At all. I have been loving each and every single match. I've said this once and I'll say it again. I love how they've made each and every single match feel very different from the other. And considering that we were going into this match with the stipulation of Falls Count Anywhere, we already knew this match was going to, just be different, with the added addition of the stipulation, right? So, bro, I don't know how else to tell you guys, but one of my favorite things, and it's something so small, but it's something that goes a long way. I love when we get any sort of like backstage fights, backstage interactions, like anything that involves the guys backstage fighting where you can get really creative with things. Oh man, little stuff like that really goes a long way. So I was so excited when this match did not start off with entrances. It didn't start off in the ring. It started in the back in the hallway of the locker rooms, and it just freaking went. By the time the camera got there, they were already fighting one another, and I was like, yes, so we are going to get some good stuff, and some good stuff we did. They did some really creative stuff backstage. We saw, pretty much some good stuff, including Penta hitting a couple of the guys with the trash bins. We see Pac do a moonsault off of this like structure that they had in the back. I'm not even sure what it was, but he jumped off. He did a moonsault off of that, so that looked pretty cool. We see Phoenix get put through a table. We see them later on eventually make their way back out into the stage area, and then they just really keep it going here. They have some really fun moments even in this portion of this. We see Phoenix go to the top of the stage, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe Phoenix is gonna do, some sort of splash, right? Nah. Phoenix, he's got to be extra fancy, man. He does a tornado off the top of the stage. Seriously. I mean, he just falls down and you just see him spinning, like going down. It looked really freaking cool. Afterwards, so he lands, right? So Phoenix hit his tornado. He lands, he's down on the ground, and dude has like 1 second to breathe. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kenny Omega just comes in and bam, hits some of the goddamn V trigger. So this was really freaking cool. Then from here on out, they keep it going, man. There's a moment that I really liked because we ended up seeing and I forgot if it was Matt or Nick, but we end up seeing one of the Bucks basically do the Northern Light suplex spot down the ramp with Pac. So you literally see them just kind of going. I think they did it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and it looked really cool because it looked like a wheel going down the ramp. So it was executed very nicely. Afterwards, they get into the ring. Kenny gets a trash bin put on his head. He gets super kicked by the entire Death Triangle. We see a nice series of Canadian Destroyer Snapdragon suplexes. We see Pac get put in a trash bin and get hit with the V trigger with the trash bin. We see Kenny hit the Dr. Bomb on Pac onto the trash bin. He goes for the cover, but Pac kicks out. And then afterwards, we see Phoenix. He ends up going to the outside, and he accidentally, or I don't know, this was not accidentally, but it was kind of funny. He ends up stomping Kenny like right on the nuts. So it looked really funny. We see Phoenix do like a really fast tope to the outside at one point. Mouncer driver from the Bucks. We see Nick get Pac and Penta with some chairs to the face. Finally, BTE trigger on Penta. Kenny hits the one-winged angel from the top of the platform, from the crowd area, the one-winged angel off the top and onto the platform at the bottom. So it looked really freaking cool. And that was basically the ending of this match. So they really just did a lot. They played with all areas of the arena, backstage, ramp area, stage area, even some outside stuff with the crowd in the ring. We just kind of got all, points. All points were definitely touched on. This was a lot of fun, guys, and we are officially going to be seeing the Escalera de la Muerte match, which is their ladder match that will be happening in Los Angeles, baby. And I will be there to watch it live, and it's going to be a freaking good time. I'm so excited. I'm really excited for that. Alrighty. And I'm obviously expecting for that match for it to be the Elite winning that, but regardless, this has been a joy to watch these matches unfold. I'm honestly, not even gonna lie, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed when it ends, because I'm gonna be like, damn, it's over. We're not gonna see the Bucks, and we're not gonna see the Elite and the Death Triangle wrestle for quite a bit, obviously. After these best of 7 series, you obviously want to give it a little bit of a break, right? But yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit bummed when it ends from there. We got everybody here saying that they love how unique the matches feel. It's really hard to do with 7 matches, but you knew they would. With guys like this, you absolutely knew that they were going to be putting on a banger each and every single week. And let's see what else we got here. Everybody putting this over. Zeno Hour says, what a fun match, wild match. The ending was wonky, but still a good match. Yeah, with the double screen, it was just a little bit too much, but in the end, it worked out. Sheldon Jackson sends in a super chat saying, love the callback to the first Stadium Stampede when Kenny did the one-winged angel to Sammy from way up high. Dude, Stadium Stampede, God, that was a lot of fun. And today I was actually thinking about the, God, what the hell did they call it? The Anarchy in the Arena. Oh my God, that was another thing that really stood out to me this year, because that was so cool. Remember when they had the music playing and everybody's like vibing? It was like a rock concert and a wrestling show all in one, which was really funny. Anyways, thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for this generous super chat. Once again, guys, if you want to help support this podcast, get your question, comment, statement, opinion, hot take, hell, your resolutions read here on this show, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat at any point. All right, now let's press on from here. Let's get into the Acclaimed music video. So they did a music video and they're out in the park. They're in the playground area, and they're obviously cutting a rap on Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and all those guys, right? They had some really good lines on this, some of which I had to make sure to mention on this show. So there's one part where they say that to Jeff Jarrett, they say, you're the worst Jeffrey since Dahmer. I really love that line. We also had, this one was something. This one was something, guys. We had the Acclaimed say to Jeff Jarrett, you're stealing money like you're stealing Kurt's wife. That was a really shocking one, I thought. I was not expecting that line whatsoever. There's one where they're saying that they got Ring of Honor's top guys from their bad years, making fun of Jay Lethal for being an imitation of the Macho Man. They're making fun of him for losing a match to Ric Flair, even though he was 74. They say that Jeff Jarrett, the only thing that he's stroking is his little ass, blank, blank, blank. Y'all finish the rest of that statement. And that's pretty much what we got with this little rap here. Oh man, I loved it. This was good stuff. I actually want to go back and rewatch it because there was some lines that I missed that I only caught like the tail end of. And I was like, okay, I need to go back and re-listen to that. But either way, there were some really good lines here. So I was a fan of this. We got everybody here putting over the Acclaimed and the music video. Oh yeah, he also calls him a carny at one point, calls Jeff Jarrett a carny. There was a lot of good stuff. Great Malu says that video didn't hold back any punches. No, it didn't. It did not, especially with the one about Kurt's wife. Yeah, it did not hold back whatsoever. All right, moving on from this, we got a couple more items to go over. We got the women's tag team match, which was Willow Nightingale and Ruby Soho teaming up to take on Ty Mello and Anna Jay. This was I really liked this tag team match. So I actually like this more over what we saw last time with between Ty and Ruby Soho. So I preferred this a lot more. I thought this was better. I really liked Willow and Ruby as a team. I thought they had some really good teamwork between them that was fun. And they just had a good time. Like in the beginning, Willow was like twerking. It was fun. My favorite part though was actually the interactions between Ruby and Ty. I kind of thought that they really stepped it up during this match. There was a moment where Ruby kind of gets Ty with like a shit ton of forearms. She just freaking goes for it. So I really kind of liked that we were seeing the animosity between Ruby Soho and Ty really kind of come through in this match here. Somehow I felt it a little bit more than when they did their singles match. Like this to me felt even hotter for between them than it did previously. So I did like what they did here. We did get, obviously a not clean finish. We do see Ty hit the Ty KO on Ruby, gets the win here, and Ty and Anna celebrate. So I'm curious now. I feel like they're going to continue this for sure. And this has been something that has been going on for quite a bit now because Ruby Soho was out with the nose injury and now she's back. So they've restarted this whole thing. And in the beginning, I really wasn't too interested in continuing this feud and continuing to see this feud. But after this match, for some reason, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm cool with it because I did enjoy the action that we were getting here. But I do want to see more of Willow and Ruby Soho teaming up together because I thought that they kind of made a pretty good tag team. And they're an odd pairing, they're definitely, they don't have the same aesthetic whatsoever. Ruby Soho is more of this like punk rock kind of girl, and Willow Nightingale is this very like happy person. So they're totally different. But I kind of like them working together. So I'm here for this. I'm really, really here for this. Thank you. Our Rig says Willow and Ruby have a strange sort of connection, right? Right? Like, I don't know what it is either because like I said, they don't seem like they have anything in common. Like I feel like based on the way that they dress and the way that they act on camera, I feel like they have a totally different music playlist. They probably don't, right? But it kind of seems like that from the outside. So anyways, that was pretty good stuff between them. Alexis P also says the women got some time tonight. Yeah, well, they should. They definitely should. And someone points out that they could also be the new wrestling odd couple. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and press on from here and let's get into Stark's promo. So Ricky Starks had a promo backstage. He was being interviewed and they've announced one match so far for next week's AEW Dynamite. And that's the first Dynamite of 2023. And we are going to be getting Starks and Chris Jericho. Obviously, they started building this immediately after Ricky Starks lost to MJF. They started building to Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. And this is great, man, because it is very clear that AEW has recognized what they have in Ricky Starks and who better to put him in there with to get the rub and get a little bit more of a high profile story other than Chris Jericho. This is perfect. This is perfect. So we're getting this match between him and Jericho next week on Dynamite. And the promo that Ricky Starks cut backstage, it was simple, but it was effective as well. He basically just said, Jericho doesn't like that I can actually think for myself. And he basically said, I'm not a fluke. I'm not a mistake. Like I'm here to prove people wrong sort of deal. Like I am like basically saying, he is going to be the one to teach this masterclass in whipping butt, etc. He's going to whip Chris Jericho's butt is what he says. And he's going to take him down several notches and this and that. So I thought this was pretty good. I liked it. Simple, but effective. But now let's get into the part of the show that I've been dying to talk about. All right. Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the TNT Championship. So there's a lot to kind of go over here because earlier on in the show, Samoa Joe attacked Wardlow during an interview, and he basically busted out his inner Tanya Harding and hit Wardlow, like popped him with a bat on the knee, and it looked pretty damn brutal. Was it a bat or was it a pipe or something, whatever. But he pops him right in the knee. Did not look good. Poor Wardlow. All right, whatever. So the entire show, commentary is mentioning, we haven't heard anything. We don't know if Wardlow's cleared. We have no idea if he's going to be in this match, if this match is even going to happen. We have no idea. And up until this main event started, we did not know for sure whether or not Wardlow was going to be coming out and doing this match. Now, here's where my train of thought was at this point in time. I'm thinking, okay, either Wardlow's going to come out and he is going to basically use this as this big obstacle that he had to overcome, and he's going to win, and there's going to be this big celebration. I had this feeling while I was watching the show, and I was going to tweet it out, but I decided not to because I was like, fuck, what if I'm wrong? But I had this feeling. I'm like, something is going to happen here tonight, and it's going to be unexpected, but I don't know what. I had this like gut feeling that something was going to happen, but I really wasn't sure. So I was like, I'm not going to tweet anything because I don't want to for people to think I know something, right? I don't know shit. All right. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe Wardlow is going to come out and he's going to, overcome this obstacle and he's going to get the win, right? When he came out limping, that's what I thought. Prior to Wardlow coming out, Samoa Joe had mentioned, that he had called some people up to see if, he can get a match or something, whatever. So prior to Wardlow coming out, I thought, maybe they're going to surprise us here. Maybe somebody's going to come out. Somebody's going to debut. Somebody unexpected is going to return, come back and wrestle Samoa Joe. So I really wasn't sure what was going to happen. Once Wardlow came out, I'm like, Wardlow's winning. Wardlow's totally winning this, right? You can't have like the guy come out all hurt. And then I'm thinking, okay, they're either going to have him win, or if he does lose, it's going to be because of the attack from earlier. So I really was kind of split, torn. I did not know what they were going to do here. I didn't know what direction they were going to go in. So anyways, we finally get this actual match. And like I said, Wardlow was wimping. He was limping, excuse me. And we get this match between Samoa Joe and Wardlow. So Wardlow goes in there. He hits Samoa Joe with a spine buster. Joe obviously goes after that knee. He gets him with a knee breaker. We see Wardlow later on in this match execute a beautiful senton on Samoa Joe. And it's funny because we've seen Wardlow do this stuff before. This is not new. Seeing Wardlow go out there and be so agile and hit all of these, remarkable things that a guy his size should not be doing, right? Or that you think a guy his size shouldn't be doing. So he goes out there, he hits that senton on Joe. He gets him with 2 German suplexes. He ends up running up into the ropes. He kind of limps a little bit with the knee, but he does a backflip onto Samoa Joe. So we were really getting kind of this moment where it was like Wardlow was building up to possibly getting the win in this match. He even gets Samoa Joe with a brilliant headbutt, and then he gets him with a clothesline. He goes for the pin, but Joe kicks out, so it's a near fall, and that, my friends, is a believable near fall, all right? Back to what I was talking about earlier. But anyways, Joe ends up locking in the rear naked choke on Wardlow. Wardlow passes out here, and Samoa Joe wins. And I was like, oh shit. Given that we kind of peaked with Wardlow during this match where they really, really built up like he was coming back and he was going to get his win, and then he didn't, I was shocked. Now, do not confuse shocked, because I was shocked that Wardlow won here, but do not confuse that with me wanting Wardlow to win. I wanted Samoa Joe to win, but because of everything that was playing out, I really did think it was Wardlow. So I thought Wardlow was going to win, but I wanted Samoa Joe to win. But at this point, I was shocked that Samoa for him because I didn't want him to lose the title. I still think that having Samoa Joe as double champion, there's a lot that you can kind of do there. Joe, I'm thinking, oh my God, what does this mean for Wardlow, right? At this point, I'm thinking, what does this mean for Wardlow? Because Wardlow, things haven't necessarily been going too great for him. And we've talked about this before. I didn't think his TNT championship run was anything to really, write home about. I thought that they did a lot. I just didn't think they did much with him as champion, right? And then I mentioned on previous shows that I did think that they lost so much of the momentum that Wardlow had gotten off of his feud, off of his story, off of the real true life situation with him and MJF and everything that was surrounding Double or Nothing. And I think that Wardlow lost a lot of momentum since then. And even when he got the belt, they didn't do much with him really as champion. When he was teaming up with Samoa Joe, I thought that stuff was pretty good. But that was about it, right? Okay. So at this point, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on with Wardlow? So Samoa Joe gets up and he kind of waits for Wardlow to, come back to consciousness. And once Wardlow gets up, it seems, or he makes you believe that Samoa Joe is going to go in for a handshake, that he's going to be like, you know what? I was gonna say good game. Good match, bud. Good match. Good match. So I'm thinking there, all right, maybe this is just going to be, you know what, sportsmanship, and that's how they're gonna tie the end here on Wardlow. But no, Samoa Joe ends up hitting him with a bout and knocking out Wardlow again. And I'm like, okay, well, I love that because that's so in line with Samoa Joe. And I love Killer Samoa Joe. I love mean, savage Samoa Joe. So even though I was shocked, loved it. But then it's not over yet. Samoa Joe goes under the ring and he pulls out a toolbox and he gets the scissors. The second he got the scissors, I'm like, oh man, he's cutting his hair. He's cutting freaking Wardlow's hair. And so he gets into the ring and he cuts off Wardlow's beautiful man bun, the very, very tiny man bun that he has, and cut it off. That's it. Wardlow's ponytail, it's not making it into 2023, guys. It's not making it. It's dead and gone. Bye-bye. So he cuts off his ponytail, and I'm thinking, man, you obviously beat the man. You beat the man, and then you make it seem like you're going to shake his hand, and then you knock him out again. And while he's down and out, you take off his ponytail. So Wardlow has to get revenge on Samoa Joe. You don't just get your hair cut off by some man and then not go get your revenge. There's got to be something there. Like, this cannot be the end for Wardlow. And so I'm thinking, okay, if this is the end for Wardlow, what's happening here? Are they going to do a revamp of Wardlow? Is that why he cut the hair off? What's happening? So then it's not over yet. Afterwards, we end up getting this all, who knows what more Samoa Joe could have done until Darby Allin comes in. So Darby Allin rolls up in there with the skateboard and everything and runs off Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe's like freaking pissed. He's livid at this. And Darby Allin basically says he's going for the TNT championship. Now, Darby Allin is a former TNT champion. I loved Darby Allin's run as TNT champion. They did a whole lot with him as champion. I was a fan of that. But he's basically says he's going for the bout. So I'm thinking, okay, are we done here with Wardlow and Samoa Joe? Is this over? Is Wardlow going to get a new look? Is Wardlow going to get his revenge on Samoa Joe? Is Wardlow just going to let it go and do something else? Get this new reinvention? What is going to happen to Wardlow? Is this going to turn into Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Darby Allin? Or is this just going to be Samoa Joe, Darby Allin? I don't mind if Darby, and obviously Samoa Joe and Darby Allin had their previous match not too long ago where Samoa Joe literally killed the guy. So that was something. So obviously Darby Allin is back getting his revenge off of that. So there's just a lot that's going on here right now that I'm pretty excited about. And I honestly, I want to see more of Samoa Joe and Darby Allin because I freaking love the match that they had together. It was literally Samoa Joe being the Samoa Joe that I want to see. Literally just killing dudes. And Darby Allin is the guy that is willing to take all of these crazy bumps and do all these crazy things. So he was more than happy to basically be killed in there by Samoa Joe. It was all great stuff. They worked out perfectly. So I'm very excited to continue to see this program with Samoa Joe and Darby Allin unfold, but it also gets me wondering what the hell is going to go on. In terms of what I'm kind of predicting here, I do think that Darby Allin might get the championship back, and I'm totally cool with that because I really like Darby Allin as TNT champion, but I also wouldn't mind if they just kept Samoa Joe going extra strong, man, if they just had him defeat Darby Allin again and kept him going strong. I feel like they could go either direction, and whatever direction they go with, I'm there with it. I'm cool with it. Let's see what we got here. We got a couple of super chats, so let's get into them. We got a super chat here from Reggie Simmons, who says, wishing an awesome 2023 to you and everyone in the chat. Going to the Seattle show for my birthday next week. Can't wait. First of all, thank you so much. And yeah, I wish everybody here a happy new year as well. I'm very excited. The New Year's really mean a lot to me. And the Seattle show is going to be obviously a lot of fun. It's going to be the first show of the year. So you're going to get to see the brand new setup for a Dynamite, the brand new presentation. So there's going to be a lot to kind of, get excited for right then and there. So thank you so much to Reggie Simmons, and have fun and happy early birthday. That's going to be a really fun celebration. We got William Pickcon, who says, I'm getting a feeling that Wardlow will cost Joe the title against Darby, so Joe versus Wardlow can have a grudge match at Revolution, but we'll see. I mean, they have to get you just can't leave Wardlow high and dry in terms of, so much of the interest, I think, for Wardlow did really kind of fade out a little bit. But then he did so good in this match, and it was so exciting, and everybody was behind Wardlow. So I could see something like this playing out where you do get some sort of grudge match between Joe and Wardlow. I wouldn't hate that. And then it gets Darby the title. I don't hate that. I don't hate it. Steve Peckman sends in a super chat saying, did Darby making the save make him seem like a bigger star than Wardlow? I don't know if it made him seem like a bigger, here's the thing, Darby's very popular. He's very popular. I don't know, you can argue whether or not who you consider a bigger star. I kind of consider Darby, to me, a little bit more of a bigger deal than Wardlow, just because Darby has really done a lot of cool stuff in AEW. He has a really cool look. He really appeals to how do I say this? He really appeals to a younger audience too. And that's not to take away anything from Wardlow, but Darby's just a cool, he's a cool dude. And, people are attracted to Darby because he goes out there and he does cool stuff, things that you're like, oh man, that's freaking crazy. How did he do that? So obviously he's going to appeal to people, but obviously Wardlow has a huge appeal himself. But I would consider Darby to be just maybe a tad bit above Wardlow. But then again, it depends on how you view it. But I do think Darby is a little bit higher above Wardlow. But anyways, for the ending here, Wardlow was just casted aside, man. He was shoved to the side. He was kicked down and out. And then Darby came in there and had his moment with Samoa Joe. So in this closing of the show, Darby did seem like the bigger deal than Wardlow, for sure. I don't know about the bigger star because I just think so much more composes makes that up. But for this specific moment, yes, Darby coming out there and, basically running off Samoa Joe. And just like that closing image where you had both guys side by side and Samoa Joe was really freaking livid. He was so mad that Darby went out there. This was good. This was definitely good. I hope I kind of answered your question, Steve, but thank you so much for sending in this super chat. It's very much appreciated. Okay then. So we got another one here from Caden Cease who says 10 days till I'm 20. Get it. Get it, Caden. Get it. Also, earlier, actually, on yesterday's show, I did have a super chat that I didn't get to read because it was sent in after the show ended. So I want to make sure to pull it up so that this person gets their money's worth. And this was from M. Durrett. M. Durrett sent in a super chat on Tuesday's show, last night's show, saying, Denise, you were looking extra oozy on that pre-show. Your guy put a ring on that finger just in time. LOL. You did a fantastic job. Thank you so much to M. Durrett for sending in this super chat. I'm so sorry I didn't get to read it on last night's show. Okay, everyone. That's it. There we go. That was AEW Dynamite, December 28th, New Year Smash, the final Dynamite of the year. I seriously want to thank each and every single person that has tuned in each and every single week to this show. Without you guys, I would not be here every single week. You have made my life so much better. You made this literally the best year of my life, period. And I hate to be all sappy and stuff, but damn, it was a good year. And I'm very proud of the work that I got to do here on F4W Online with all of my shows. On top of that, the latest and just a bunch of other random stuff that I've been doing. So Seriously, thank you guys so much. And if you're not back here on Friday, I'll thank you again on Friday. We got a super chat here from Caden who says, thanks for some good memories this year, IHOP. Thank you so much, Caden, for sending in this super chat. Thank you, everyone. That is it for today. And I will be back here on Friday. Goodbye, everyone.